Wicked Little Letters, which is a new film by Thea Sharrock, who has a background in theatre and TV, reunites, as I said before, Lost Daughter co-stars Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley. Thea Sharrock's previous credits include Me Before You, and apparently she's currently working on a Frank Cottrell Boyce script. So this is from a script by Johnny Sweet, inspired by the real-life case of the Littlehampton libels. Do you know anything about them?
No, I'm familiar with Littlehampton.
But not the libels.
But not the libels of Littlehampton.
There is a book about them. Anyway, story of a community in which poisoned pen letters lead to personal intrigue and miscarriages of justice. 1920s, idyllic town. Olivia Colman is the prim, proper and God-fearing Edith Swan, who lives with her father, Edward, played by Tim Spall.
Excellent.
So we're doing great already. She has been receiving weirdly obscene letters, which she tells the police are almost certainly the work of her neighbour, Rose Gooding, a brash single mother played by Jessie Buckley. Jessie Buckley's partner died in the war, so now Rose is raising a daughter, whilst also in her spare time carousing in pubs, breaking the rules of social norms, and using sweary language in public. So when her neighbour starts receiving sweary letters, clearly it's the next door neighbour. They were friends at one point, now not. This is enough for the police, particularly Constable Papwick, played by Hugh Skinner. However, WPC Gladys Moss, played by Angela Vasson, is sceptical, something which is dismissed by her colleagues who think she should just make the tea. So all the fingers are pointed, court cases are held, and the wrong people are grabbed. Here's a clip.
I forgive you, Rose.
Edith, I didn't do it. Who's that?
It's me. Sorry. I thought this was more of a private situation. But also, I didn't want to leave in case of problems, so I held position.
The father and I have been discussing a sermon I might give at St. Catherine's.
We're all positively fizzing with the idea.
And I had a passage I wanted to read to you, too. That's what I meant by good timing.
Twist of fate.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
It's very short, quite energising.
We don't want me any more energised. Not unless you want a good bannocky.
A physical threat. It's like a trapdoor to hell opens up everywhere you tread.
I'm not actually evil, you know.
She's not. She's just a very, very different person to the character played by Olivia Colman. So the film opens with an American Hustle-style declaration that this story is more true than you'd think. And after watching, I knew nothing about the thing beforehand, went did a bit of Googling. Turns out more of this is true than you would think. Part of the pleasure is that these poison pen letters are really, really peculiar. Peculiar because they are very sweary, but in a very, very odd way. Now, I can't repeat any of the dialogue, and that's pretty much one of the few we can't give you a clip in which they're reading out the letters because the letters are fantastically sweary, and it is genuinely the case that hearing Olivia Colman reading out fantastically and really oddly sweary letters is hilariously funny, as are, many of the ways. So the thing when they get into court, the letters have to be read out.
Because I associate Littlehampton with my granny, because she used to live in Rustington by Sea.
Rustington by Sea.
Right. So
have I taken furnished lodgings down on...
That's right. Michael Flanders.
That's right.
Michael Flanders. So in my head, no one swears in Rustington or Littlehampton. It's just not what is done.
Well, of course, the weird thing about the letters is that there's something Chaucerian about them, but they also appear to have been written by somebody for whom swearing is a second language. And this, of course, is a plot point. If somebody who had a foul mouth was to sit down and write a sweary letter, this isn't the sweary letter they would write. And of course, although the film is an unfurling mystery, there isn't much mystery. You can tell right from the very beginning what's going on if you know anything about the Littlehampton libel case. And I think by now, because they've been doing the PR campaign, people do know the story. But the whole point is that the letters appear to have been written by somebody who has come to swearing, but it hasn't really got the hang of it, hasn't really got the measure of it. And that's one of the things that's so funny about this. And I have to tell you, I thought the film was laugh out loud funny. I mean, I really like a good comedy, and it's a really, really terrific cast. But part of it was just because, as somebody who enjoys swearing, I think when it's done properly, it can be terrific. I did at the BFI South Bank, the director and the key cast was doing an interview with them, and I asked Olivia Colman if she liked swearing, and she gave a fantastically sweary answer, which I absolutely can't repeat. I did also ask the director how the rating was, and the rating is 15. The director said that she had actually wanted to go for a 12. This is partly because you will remember when the King's Speech happened, there was that sort of fuss about the fact the King's Speech had got a 12 because it uses, and this is exactly what the BBFC said, 12 for strong language in a speech therapy context. And you'll remember that you did an interview with Ken Loach in which he was very put out that one of his films had been slapped with, I think it was an 18 rating because of the language. And the argument was, is it okay if it's posh people swearing? Well, in the case of this...
It was all I could do to stop him from illustrating.
I know. And trying to stop Ken Loach doing anything,
yes,
you're onto a sticky wicket. So in the BBFC description of this, it says there is infrequent, very strong language. That's that word. There is also frequent, strong language. And then I can't read you what it says other than often used in a sexual sense. Milder bad language includes the B word, the W word, the T word, the other W word, the C word, the other C word, the P word, the SL word, tart, I can say that, strumpet, I can say that, the A word, the other A word, the SH word, the B word, the other B word, the other B word, the word that begins with P and ends with is, sod, I think we're fine, balls, I think we're fine, tits, God and Jesus, I think we're fine as well.
That's an interesting combination that you finished with. Why don't you just assume that every word that you've ever heard is in?
Every word that you've ever heard is in, but all written in these fantastically sort of Baroque style in the manner of somebody swearing as if their inner soul was having some kind of mad fusion fit, and it was all coming out in these letters. I think that the thing that makes the film really, really work is the performances. Olivia Colman is great as this sort of pious woman who's actually sort of rather delighted about all this attention that she's getting because she's getting these abusive letters. And then she's, suddenly the vicar wants her to give a sermon, and everyone's, she's suffering so marvelously, but she's so Christian. She doesn't want to condemn anyone. And I do find that very funny. I think that Jessie Buckley is a force of nature on screen, and I think her performance is really great. It's a brash counterpoint to Olivia Colman. Angela Vassan, who was BAFTA nominated for We Are Lady Parts, has got the more difficult role because she is Sussex's first woman police constable. And she's the person who says, this case doesn't add up. It doesn't. Why would she send letters when she could just swear at her over the fence? But she's also the centre of this allegiance amongst the women folk, most notably Joanna Scanlon, who has an absolute riot. There's a routine that she does about a chicken and an egg, which is, again, as I said, laugh out loud funny. The one thing I would say is this. Some of the reviews have been a little bit equivocal. You need to see the film with an audience. It really is one of those ones that when the room starts laughing, it becomes, it finds its feet. And I'm sure that if you watched it on your own, feeling sniffy, you could probably take against it. But I thought it was really good fun. I really enjoyed laughing at it, with it. And, not least because it's a very entertaining thesis on the poisonous quality of close community life, but also on the weird gloriousness of the English language. I think Stephen Fry would love it.
Also, the weird gloriousness of Littlehampton and Rustington-on-Sea.
Rustington-on-Sea.
I'd taken
furnished lodgings.
Yes, I would like to see this film in the Rustington-on-Sea playhouse.
I bet you it plays like an absolute gangbusters there.
Yeah.